Hello there, my name's Thomas O'Regan and I am a professional property investor here in Australia. Now, if you're looking to be a professional property investor in Australia, you need to understand that there is no one that is going to look out for your position more than you. So what does that actually mean from the property investor's perspective? From the most important task for the property investor is to, one, manage your cash flows, manage your income and expenses. Two, expand or grow your cash flow. And three, the most important one, is to grow your asset position, grow your capital growth position, and scale your property portfolio. Now, from the perspective of growing your cash flow, the property manager is the person who is essentially in charge of doing that for you. But the person who is the one that should be making the final checks on your cash flow and the way it's growing is you as the investor, because the person who has the most invested interest is you if you are the investor. Now, I have discussions with my property managers all the time about what they think the rent is or could be for the property versus what I think the rent is or could be for the property. Now, they don't understand, like the property manager just obviously wants to get a tenant as quickly as possible if they're good. And the best quality tenant, which is great. That's what you want from a property manager. Now, from their perspective, the easiest way to do that is to make the property at a price point which is reasonable in terms of where the market sits for where the price range is for that particular type of property. Now, what I mean by that is you may look at one property or three properties like for like. One might go for $350 per week, one might go for $400 per week, and one might go for $450 per week. Now, as I said, these all three properties are the same. One of the properties is rented out by a manager who absolutely has no idea what the market value is, and they're just negligent, and that's why they rented the property out for $350. The second property that is $400 might be rented out by a competent property manager and they're just trying to get middle of the market price on the property, which is great because and when I say middle of the market, I mean 400 versus 350 or versus 450 per week, and them putting it at that price is going to make their job as easy as possible because they're probably only going to need to do one inspection to get 20 applicants, and then from those 20 applicants they can pick the best one, and the best one is the one that they need to nanny or look after as little as possible. Okay, now third property manager or third price point is $450. That's the top of the market, right? Now, as the landlord, it is 100% depends at what stage of your property portfolio. If you're scaling your property portfolio, you're scaling your property portfolio at the acquisition phase. It is 100% in your best interest to be at the top of the market. Every $50 a week you get in income goes into the back of your pocket, and if you're in an acquisition phase, what you're going to use that extra capital to do is either to use it as more borrowing capacity, which is the most important thing for me, to grow or acquire more properties, and that's that. But what the property manager needs to do that is they need to be more aggressively marketing the property. They need to be when the property has an open, they need to be more active in selling the property, right? And it may sound weird. Why would someone need to sell a rental property? Well, they need to paint. If you're selling a property, the sales agent, you don't want a sales agent that's just going to simply take people through the property and let the buyers convince themselves that it's a great property to buy. They're going to be convincing the buyers to buy the property with all the benefits as the buyers walk through and do whatever they do in the property before they decide to buy it. Same thing should happen if you have a good management agent in property investing. That's how you get top of the market, and it's as the landlord, as the investor, it's in your best interest to know that and push for that, depending on where you are at in your property investment journey. Now, another thing that your team won't understand when you are scaling or growing a property portfolio as an investor is they won't understand that how much of a benefit putting a property on the market from 400 to 450 is for you. It may give you anywhere from, call it $10,000 more borrowing capacity, anywhere up to, $100,000 more borrowing capacity. Now imagine if you have not one but 10 properties and you put all the rents up by $50 per week. Now, not only is that a substantial amount of money that you're receiving, but it is a substantial amount more borrowing capacity that you are getting. So if you put all your rents up to top of market on all your 10 properties, you're getting an extra $500 per week, which may equal a huge amount, or not even a huge amount, $26,000 per year, but a substantial amount more when it comes to the amount of properties you can buy, right? So super important. Obviously, the strategy you use to scale your property portfolio, a lot of people on your team won't understand it, because it will be, if you're a professional property investor, it's something that you've taken a long time to craft. It's not something that you've thrown together overnight, and it may be very clear in your head and may be very simple for you to explain, but it's not very simple for other people to understand. So just know, as the property investor, you have to stay in charge of the boat you are sailing, which is the wealth creation vehicle you've chosen to become wealthy from. Bye.